r/AskReddit. What's the greatest frick it'll do it myself moment in history? John Stapp, Air Force doctor, who was convinced that more pilots could survive if their seats didn't disintegrate on crash landings. He proved it by strapping himself into a Mythbuster-style rocket sled and not dying. His work led to safer planes and cars. By riding the decelerator sled, Stapp demonstrated that a human can withstand at least 46.2 grams in the forward position, with adequate harnessing. This is the highest known acceleration voluntarily encountered by a human. Set on December 10, 1954, Stapp reached a speed of 632 miles per hour, 1,017 kilometers per hour, which broke the land speed record and made him the fastest man on Earth. Famous writer Roald Dahl, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the BFG, James and the Giant Peach, etc., developed and patented a surgical device to treat children with traumatic brain injuries. Dahl had no medical training, he just did it. Dahl's 4-year-old son was injured in a car accident and developed dangerous pressure on his brain due to swelling. Surgeons installed a shunt in Dahl's son's skull to drain fluid and relieve pressure, but it kept clogging. There was no better solution on the market, so Dahl worked with a toy maker to design a new shunt that drained fluid without clogging. Dahl was able to patent the design, and it was subsequently used to treat thousands of children. The man who invented the automatic switchboard, switchboards used to require a person to physically move a cable to connect the call, did so because his funeral home wasn't getting any customers. The lady operating the switchboard was the wife of his rival and was redirecting the calls to her husband. Instead of complaining to the phone company, which would have probably gotten her fired if they found sufficient evidence, he took matters into his own hands and made her entire job obsolete. Drive Tracy Dixon Salazar, who went and got her PhD in neurobiology because her daughter was having seizures, and nobody could tell her why this was happening, and nobody could treat her daughter. She found a treatment when nobody else could. Incredible woman. Drive Barry Marshall for infecting himself with H. pylori to prove they were the cause of ulcers. He earned a Nobel Prize for his efforts. The doctor who had to do his own appendectomy in a mirror, because he was the only one who could do it in Antarctica. The woman who delivered her own baby by C-section. I guess she has several kids and knew the baby was in distress, but her husband was at the bar. So she took a shot of alcohol and delivered the baby. They all lived, even the husband. North Korea attempted to hack someone who used to do cybersecurity for the Department of Defense in an attempt to steal some of his hacking software. He notified the FBI, and after waiting a year for nothing to come of it, he decided to hack into servers and routers of North Korea, and effectively took down their internet, as well as virtually all of their sites for many days. In 1959, Dashrath Manji's wife died from injuries resulting from trying to cross the mountain to access the closest hospital. There was no road, so he, over the course of over 2 decades, with a hammer and chisel, moved the fricking mountain. His country, India, made a postage stamp with the mad lad's face on it. Dude swore vengeance on a damn mountain and won. John Walsh's son was abducted from a Sears in 1981, and his decapitated head was found 2 weeks later. The rest of his body was never found. They were never able to pin the murder on anyone. John Walsh got involved in victim advocacy and started America's Most Wanted, helping capture more than 1,000 criminals, some of which were on the FBI's Most Wanted list. It was eventually determined, with minimal evidence, that a serial killer named Otis Toole was Adam's killer. To this day, department stores commonly have a code Adam, named after Walsh's son, to help locate children who were lost or abducted from public spaces. Edit. Adam Walsh was 6 when he was abducted and murdered. Oh my word, I won't remember names here. The series, Band of Brothers, is based off of true stories told by World War II vets that were a part of Easy Company. You get to see them tell their story, while the recreation of their telling is made into cinematic format. There was one point where there was a planned raid, battle of sorts. They had another group they were attacking with on the other side of a small town. The person in charge was supposed to call up the other company, but he ended up panicking and was unable to make the call. One of the soldiers was like, "Screw it, I'll do it myself." But no, not by calling them or getting their attention from a distance. This man instead ran toward enemy line, past them, and all the way to the other company, and ran all the way back. The thing is, people usually have their guns aimed at distance. They don't expect someone to just wind up right next to them. I can also imagine that the enemy was a bit befuddled seeing this guy. He was untouched, and was a hero that day. To see better details about this, read comments, and look up Ronald Spires at Foy. The entire series is a flurry of brave individuals who did and dealt with unthinkable things. My favorite recounting is the medic episode. I love that they spent an episode focusing on a medic, and how flippin' tough it'd be to be one. Medics often end up being the soldiers that helps the most, but sees the most death of comrades.